An arrest warrant was issued for Timothy Busfield on January 9th. He did not surrender to Albuquerque, New Mexico police until January 13th. Even the U.S. Marshal Service was said to be looking for him during this time period. And when he surrendered, he put out a video and he said, look, I found out that there was a warrant out for my arrest on the 9th. I had to obtain a lawyer, and then I had to drive 2,000 miles to get to New Mexico to surrender. And that's what I was doing. Well, we know a few other stops that he made in between here. And I think you're going to find them to be very interesting. We found these out through an opposition defense filing that's not even posted in the docket yet. The defense filed a pretrial opposition motion on Friday, January 16th, and we were able to obtain this from his lawyers at Fairburg Dodd, And look, this is a crazy, crazy long filing. I mean, it is lengthy. I kept thinking to myself, is a judge going to be a little mad that they have this crazy 237-page filing just 4 days before his pretrial detention hearing? I mean, who knows? But essentially what the gist of this opposition motion is all the reasons why Timothy Busfield should not be held pending his trial. They want him released. And they talk a lot about the child actors, their parents, and how their parents don't exactly have a clean record. They have quite an extensive, well, the father anyway, an extensive criminal history. He's a disgraced attorney that was caught up in some kind of fraud scheme, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But what it also has, and I would say it's mainly, or it is mainly exhibits in this filing. There's about 19 pages of, case law and all of that stuff. And then the rest of it are exhibits. So letters of support. I can even show you Melissa Gilbert, his wife, her full letter of support. He has affidavits from cast and crew members saying, we never saw Timothy Busfield do XYZ. We never saw anything like that on set. They also have people saying if anybody was weird, it was the father of these twins. Now, guys, I'm not saying that I agree with any of this or not. I am just simply reiterating the facts and what is inside of this opposition motion. But what I did notice was, and I'll pull this up on screen, a tweet that I made so you can see it, but there is the results of his polygraph test and the questions, by the way, he was asked. And then there's also a psychosexual evaluation that he had. And both of these are dated. So the polygraph is actually dated January 13th, which is the same day that he surrendered. And the psychosexual evaluation, the first day that he actually saw and met with this doctor was on the 12th. So I am guessing, oh, and by the way, there's 75 some odd letters of support, affidavits, all contained in this document. Now, this is not something that you can put together overnight, clearly. So I have a feeling he saw the arrest warrant. He called Fairburg Dodd. They are a pretty well-known firm in New Mexico. They represented this UFC fighter, John Jones, in a couple cases. And the most recent case where he was accused of a hit and run, he got the charges completely dropped. So they are pretty well known. So I'm thinking Busfield called this attorney and he was like, tell me what to do, what's going on. And then they advised him from there. So this right here, this is my tweet. I will just show you because I went through this very exhibit heavy opposition motion. And a lot of people initially were very interested in the polygraph results and the questions. That was the bigger thing. So his entertainment lawyer, Larry Stein, who is apparently handling his PR as well, put out a statement saying, Timothy Busfield's innocent. And not only that, he voluntarily submitted for a polygraph and XYZ. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing. But again, I found a lot of people were very interested in this. So I said, here is the polygraph questions and also his psychosexual evaluation, just page 1, and the pretrial assessment, which basically indicated that he was the lowest possible risk, which is a 1, the highest being 6. It's like a risk of flight and a risk of, committing a crime like this again, etc. So then I said, take note of the dates circled on the polygraph and psychosexual test, January 12th and 13th. So here we go, just really quick. Yep. Date seen January 12th, 2026 and January 14th, 2026. So I'll go back to the preliminary statement, what it said, but this was also just showing you the polygraph was administered on January 13th as well. So you know what? And let me just, these are the questions, and then this is the pretrial services assessment. So I'll go back to the polygraph here, and I'll just read part of this. It just says, I'm reading the bottom. The pre-testing interview. During the phase of Mr. Busfield's examination, relevant questions were formulated to narrow the subject matter into the administration of specific relevant questions. What? Other test questions were formulated to complete the full examination structure of a Utah zone comparison technique, a validated technique admitted in New Mexico courts. Okay. Now, these were the questions. Regarding whether or not you ever touched the intimate parts of blank blank, do you intend to answer truthfully? Each question about that, yes. Did you touch that boy's intimate parts? No. At any time, did you touch that boy's intimate parts? No. Have you ever touched that boy's intimate parts? No. Did you touch that boy's intimate parts at any time? No. Okay. I mean, it seems like they asked the same question over and over again in different ways. I feel like that is a technique used by polygraph experts. And before anyone comes at me, I am well aware that a polygraph doesn't necessarily mean anything at all times. And sometimes in certain courts, they're not even eligible to be admitted. It's all dependent on the discretion of the judge. And look, I know what happens, okay? If someone that you believe is guilty passes a polygraph, you're going to say, well, he could have taken something to calm his nerves. Anybody can pass a polygraph. They're not reliable, whatever. And then you go, not you specifically, but one. And then one could fail. And then you would say the opposite. See, I told you. So I'm just throwing this out there. I know all of the arguments, but for me, I wanted to see the questions. And I also thought the date was super interesting. So let me just go back quickly to the psychosexual evaluation and just read you the bottom paragraph here, where it basically says, Mr. Busfield has been assessed as very low risk based on the outcome of the clinical interview and risk assessment measures indicated below. Mr. Busfield demonstrated an ability to be forthcoming in his responses despite the sensitive nature of the questions. Mr. Busfield reports continued steady employment, strong family support, and engagement in pro-social activities and pro-social peers. He was referred for a psychosexual assessment by his attorney in response to an arrest warrant that was issued for Mr. Busfield on January 9th, 2026 for charges related to criminal sexual conduct of a child. Okay, now let's switch over to an article that I did about this whole thing, of course. And, I'm just going to say really quickly what was said about the child actor's parents. The motion does detail the alleged victim's father is a disbarred former attorney convicted of federal wire fraud in a multi-million-dollar scheme, while the other, meaning the wife, has faced fraud judgments, casino bad check cases, and allegations of asset concealment, including a court finding involving a Bentley sold and then unlawfully repossessed. And they also state that this happened, all of these evaluations with their kids, and then them, speaking to police after they consulted a civil attorney. This is what the defense is saying about the twins' parents. So there's that. And again, I am just reading this. I don't necessarily have all the answers here, but Timothy Busfield's defense also plans to call some odd 13 witnesses. And, they have these witnesses' affidavits also included in the filing. And you can actually, I made a Google Drive so you can view the whole filing. I want to do that for people. I want everyone to be able to see this stuff. So let's see. Oh, He also had this quote from the director of photography, who is going to be called, but he said, quote, "The twins' parents were odd. The father, Ronnie, creeped me out. He was pushy and manipulative. He would force the twins to give me a hug every time I saw him on set. He thought I was important, and it seemed like he really wanted me to like the boys. I always thought it was very creepy and unhealthy to force a child to give someone a hug. Ronnie was very overbearing. He had a business power, alpha male attitude." I don't like when people force kids to give hugs. I hate that. I never force my kids to do that. I used to hate that as a kid. I'm like, please don't make me hug my very old great aunt. Like now I feel bad about it, like thinking back, because she probably really could have used a hug, but I just didn't like when I was forced. Okay. I want to go down lastly to Melissa Gilbert's letter. "Dear Judge, I am Timothy Busfield's wife, Melissa Gilbert. I have known Tim since we briefly met in the 80s. She kind of talks about, their love story. The paragraph above is a cut and dry accounting, but the reality is Tim is my love, my rock, my partner in business and life, my comfort, my counsel. His joy, humor, quick wit brings a sparkle to my eye. He's simply the beating of our wild and wonderful extended family." She talks about him having the strongest moral compass of any human that she knows. He also, by the way, has past allegations that I've spoken about, a woman at a movie theater. Nothing happened with that criminally. And also a 17-year-old in, I believe, 1996. She said on every single set where Tim is working, people come up to her and say that Tim is their favorite director ever. Actually, people say that to me at restaurants, red carpets, and grocery stores too. His former students tell me he was their favorite teacher. He's my favorite. She talks about how he was so great with her youngest son, Michael. He nurtured Michael. He admonished, praised, loved, consoled, cajoled, fretted, cared for, and fed my son both physically and spiritually. She'll never be able to express the depths of gratitude she has for God bringing this wonderful human into her life. I'm going to scroll down, but she basically says, "As he is my protector, I am his, but I cannot protect him now. And I think that more than anything else, that's what's truly breaking my heart. I am relying on you to protect him for me." If you want to go read that word for word, I will have that article in the episode notes. Head to lamag.com. I'm going to be live streaming the detention hearing, which is today at 2 p.m. So Eastern. So follow here for the latest on Timothy Busfield, of course, and other cases. Like and subscribe if you don't already. I thank everyone for watching. I'm Lauren Conlin. I'll be back tomorrow with another LA Magazine daily pop culture scandals and crime news podcast.